It is Friday, August 4th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Friday puzzle, which means no theme today, which is good because based on my performance yesterday, maybe I need a break from themes for a couple of days, which is exactly what I'll get, which is good. I'm very sorry about my complete failure to comprehend yesterday's theme. Even after I thought I basically comprehended it, I was still missing a very significant element of how it worked that would have made it much easier for me to understand each answer. And I'll go into that in more detail in the comments about yesterday's puzzle section of the video after today's solve. So thank you for everyone's patience and corrections on that one. In any case, today's hopefully less confused edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Camtron, Henrik Koskinen, David Innes, and, as always, the indomitable Showmaster and the incredible Horan family. So thank you so much to the 5 of them benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign for their generous support. They're sustaining this channel, keeping the series going. For that, I am incredibly appreciative. Thank you so much to them. Thank you to everybody who's a patron of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. And if you'd like to join them, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field underneath the video to find those bonus videos and the Let's Check the Crosses mug for benefactors. So thank you again to everyone who has backed that campaign. Thanks as well to everybody who has signed up, who's subscribed to the YouTube channel. That is a big help. Please do consider doing so if you've been enjoying these videos. Also, you could tell a friend if you've been enjoying these and you think they might enjoy them as well. And finally, do also consider the Daily Solve Discord chat server. It's a nice, friendly chat community available for everyone to join to discuss these puzzles, other crosswords, other puzzles, and there's a link in the description field to that as well. All right, let's get on to today's crossword, which is a Friday themeless crossword, presumably constructed by Brandon Copy, who's responsible for, I think, around a dozen New York Times crosswords, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving and see if I can do a little bit better today than I did yesterday. Junior Mint. Not sure what's going on there. Let's see. Cry that accompanies relief or a reek. Few, maybe? If something smells bad, would you say few? Yeah, you could. You could do so. And also you could say that in response to something being a relief. Let's see. Vets counterparts. Veterans or veterinarians, which I think is more likely. I'm not sure. 1990 film that Roger Ebert called so implausible that it makes it hard for us to really care about the plight of the kid. Must be Home Alone. That's funny, based on the year, and I guess the description does sound like it would be Home Alone. What a funny reaction to that film. I suppose it is fairly implausible. Blank Bunny, Looney Tunes character. Well, I'm fairly confident about Home Alone, so it's not Bugs Bunny. Does Bugs Bunny, I think there's a sort of female counterpart to Bugs Bunny, Lola Bunny, I think. Is that right? I think it may well be. Let's look at the crosses and see if I'm on the right track there. Junior Mint. Still not sure what's going on with that. Some theaters. AMC's with that M there, because that's a theater chain in the U.S. No-win situation. That's a wash. Is that a no-win situation? I guess it is, yeah. Yeah. No-win situation. That was a wash. We didn't win. Yeah, that's fair enough. High point of a trip to California. El Capitan. That is, so high point there refers not to the best bit, although it could well also have been that, but rather a high point, a peak, a mountain. In this case, El Capitan, which is a famous mountain in California. I mean, I don't know how famous it is outside of California, but I did spend most of my life in that state, so I am familiar with El Capitan. Okay, I suppose it can't hurt. Yeah, something? Yeah, let's try. Yeah, I'll try. Suppose it can't. Yeah, I'll try. That could be it. This would be play something. Junior Mint. Play. I'm really not sure what's going on there. Feature of open world video games. They could feature a map in order to navigate around the large open world. Hit Broadway musical with an exclamation point in its name. Very common for Broadway musicals to have exclamation points in their names, so I'm not really sure, and I don't really know all that much about Broadway musicals, but let's keep looking around. Formal denial could be not I, maybe? Charm to King Charles. I have no idea what that's getting at. I don't know. Itch. You could have an itch, a yen, a desire to do something. Oh, this looks like play. Oh, it is play money. Oh, that's a very clever clue. This is a very Friday clue. So junior mint, play money. So mint referring to minting money, minting banknotes. And maybe the junior version of that is play money. Not legal tender, but money used in, I don't know, a board game or just for fun or what have you. All right. So does that help me with this? Oh, Oliver. That's a musical. Oliver. Okay, that'll be the answer. And then gusto could be vim. You do something with gusto. You do it with elan, with vim and vigor. You do it, enthusiastically, I suppose. So charm to. Oh, I see. King Charles is just means in British English. That's all. It has nothing to do with King Charles individually. And so all that we're doing here is spelling the word enamor, and we're just making sure to spell it the way it would be spelled here in the UK in British English. So enamor with a U. That's all. Okay, hazmat monitor. OSHA? So hazmat, hazardous materials monitor. I think monitor here refers not to a computer screen, but rather to the organization that might monitor workplaces with hazardous materials, which in the US could be OSHA, which deals with occupational safety, a federal agency. Okay, Queen of Blank. I don't know, it's pretty open-ended. Tap. Not sure either, but I do see, glancing over here, I do see Blank Isley Star Wars Spaceport. That's Mos Eisley from the original film Star Wars. And then Big Sister, Mother Superior? Yeah, that's what it is. So here, sister, and again, question mark indicating a bit of pun, very Friday answer. Sister referring not to one's sister in one's family, but rather a sister in a holy order, a nun. And so the big sister might be the one in charge, the Mother Superior. And let's see. Tap. I'm still not sure what's going on there. Yeah. Okay. I suppose it can't hurt. It's not, yeah, I'll try. It's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I can't see that. Organization for Triple H and the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know who these are. I assume they're people, given the Ultimate Warrior sounds like a person. Let's look at this. Maybe it's a sort of like mixed martial arts thing or something like that, but obviously that doesn't fit in here. In shorthand, it's written, I'm just wondering that because the Ultimate Warrior just sounds to me like, I don't know. It's obviously not right, so I don't know why I'm explaining myself. In shorthand, it's written with 2 S's and 2 T's. I don't know. I actually don't really know. I've never learned shorthand, so I don't know. Suppose that's not uncommon these days. How some deli meats are served. They're served on rye, maybe? A sandwich on rye is a sort of common, stereotypical thing to order at a deli, so. Yeah, I just do not know what's going on here. I suppose it can't hurt. Yeah, oh yeah, I don't think that's right. Oh yeah, why not? That's what it is. Okay, there we go. Yeah, why not? I suppose it can't hurt. That sounds perfectly correct. Little rascal. And then what was this? A little taller than normal, say, as a kitty. On the tall side? No. A little taller than normal. Say, as a kitty. What a strangely written clue. Nigerian people in Things Fall Apart. Igbo? That's a Nigerian people. Let's see. Certain native identity, a tribal something. Little rascal. Things that can really make someone pop. No idea there. In shorthand, it's written with two S's. Okay, I looked at that already. I wasn't sure. Oh, maybe this is wrestling, not mixed martial arts. Is it WWE, the World Wrestling? I don't know. Oh, maybe it's entertainment? I kept trying to think of words that meant organization, but it must not be that. So in shorthand, it's written with two S's and two T's. Weak? Oh, yeah, it is. Little rascal could be a stinker. You could refer to a sort of pesky child as a little stinker, maybe. Heavily caffeinated, say. I don't know. Chi-Town fixture since 1847 with the Trib, the Chicago Tribune, maybe? That sounds like may well have been established in 1847. The Queen of Sheba. There we go. That's the answer here, Queen of Sheba. And then tap, I'm still not sure. Site for many of Jesus's miracles. This is the kind of thing where I'm not going to know it off the top of my head, but I probably will recognize it when I see it written. So maybe after a few crosses. Advice lead in. If you ask me, I bet that's it. Okay. Oh, sorry. And it seem to be today often looking past the answer I'm on. But anyway, the smartest guys in the room subject. I never actually saw this, but I remember this was a documentary about. Oh no, now I can't remember what it was. It was that California energy company that failed and was found to have been engaging in a huge amount of sort of fraud and financial mismanagement. What was it called? Enron? Was that what it was? So it was something like that. I think that might be it. Space scrap. It's not NASA. What is this? Space scrap. I'm not sure. I just thought NASA because of space, but I don't know. Heavily caffeinated, say. I don't know. Tap. Oh, spigot, as in a tap of a faucet. So, Galilee. Say for a minute. Maybe this isn't If You Ask Me. Interesting. So, U.S. Pres commemorated with a stone tablet in London's Westminster Abbey. Okay, I actually think I've been to Westminster Abbey a few times, and I'm fairly certain I've seen this, and I think it's FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, presumably because of his leadership of the U.S. during the Second World War. I have a fairly, I think, legitimate memory of seeing this stone tablet. Westminster Abbey is a fascinating place because it is absolutely packed with, sort of, I forget exactly what you'd call them, but sort of grave stones, memorial stones set into the floor, a high proportion of which actually refer to people genuinely buried in the Abbey, but some of which, like this one, do not. They're just commemorative. Anyway, it's absolutely packed with those. Advice lead in. So it's if I were you, there we go. That's equally plausible to whatever it was I said before. And what was I said? If you ask me, I think, yeah. Major fantasy franchise in brief. LOTR for Lord of the Rings, I suspect. And then eponym for U.S. Track and Field's highest award. Oh, interesting. I'm not familiar with this award, but I assume this is Jesse Owens, who I think was actually just in the crossword yesterday or the day before, very, very recently, certainly. And sorry, because I seem to just be doing this today, I just saw this Barry Blank 1975 Kubrick drama. Barry Lyndon is an absolutely excellent Stanley Kubrick film and was shot with, I think, essentially entirely natural light. So it wasn't shot where they didn't use, at least they almost no kind of artificial cinema lights. But what that meant was they had to come up with all sorts of incredibly strange workarounds because you do actually need quite a lot of light to shoot film properly. That's why movie sets always are so overlit. It's strange when you see them in person. It's different than how they look on the screen. But they had these cameras that, sorry, not cameras. They did have special camera lenses as well. But They had these candles that burn, something like 3 times as bright as ordinary candles, but it also means they burn down incredibly quickly for that reason. And so they just had an unbelievably massive quantity of these special candles in order to light indoor scenes with candlelight rather than electric light. And then all sorts of other things. There was a sort of special camera lens developed by NASA that Kubrick acquired for the use of shooting this film in low light conditions. Anyway, the film itself is actually just really great, as well as those technical elements. The Hatfields and McCoys, e.g. clans. I don't remember I don't really remember the story of the Hatfields and McCoys, but it's some sort of famous feud between those clans. Rank for TV's Klinger and Radar. This is from MASH. I certainly wouldn't have known their ranks, but it looks like it must be, well, I was going to say corporal, but maybe it's colonel. Corporal Klinger, Colonel Klinger, Colonel Radar, Corporal Radar. Which do I think is more? I don't know. That neither of them sounds particularly correct or incorrect to me. Well, that's a shame. I thought that was going to be an easy one because I had 2 of the letters, but I'm not sure. A little taller than normal, say, as a kitty. Oh, on tippy toes. On tippy toe, I suppose. I see. Okay, you're a little taller than normal, not because you're taller than average biologically, but because you're standing on your tippy toe. There we go. So this was Corporal Klinger, and Corporal Radar. Things that can really make someone pop. I don't know. Asteroids system, right? So this is a very Friday clue. The fact that it's not clued as asteroid system, but rather asteroids system is an incredibly subtle indication that we're talking about the arcade game, the video game Asteroids, the early arcade game, rather than a system of asteroids, which at least in English you would say asteroid system. So I think that must be Atari, which would have been, I guess, when it was playable on home consoles, it would have been playable on an Atari console. So non-English uncle. Non-English uncle. That's vague. Oh, and question mark. Sorry, not question mark. Quotation marks. I do not see what that's getting at. I'm not quite sure I understand what the clue is referring to, let alone what the particular answer is. Certain native identity is tribal name. I see. Okay, there we go. I still don't know what this is. Sorry. Small amount of whiskey could be a dram. Might have a dram of scotch. And still not getting it. Oh, a nomad? I don't know. Why would that be the case? It doesn't seem... I don't know. Teacher's directive. See me. You could say see me after class, maybe to discuss, I don't know, poor Mark or something. Children's writer Greenfield. Eloise? I don't know. It's just a name that would fit here. I don't think I recognize that author. Oh, I see. Noma. Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I get it now. Uncle in this context is used to, I don't know, you could be sparring with somebody or something, or wrestling with them, and they can have you in a headlock. You could say uncle to indicate, okay, I surrender. And so in this case, it's saying we want a foreign language equivalent of that, which in Spanish could be no más for no more. There we go. Okay, it took me until I basically had the whole thing. This does look like Eloise then, doesn't it, with that S there? Paternoster, things that can really make someone pop. I have no idea what this is. Enters in a way. Maybe Enron is incorrect. Maybe Eloise is incorrect. Oh, maybe it's Louise. No. Is Lyndon incorrect? Is it spelled no? Enters in a way. I don't know. I'll have to come back to it. To slip is to err, to make a mistake. Info in a visitor's text, maybe. Estimated time of arrival, perhaps? Would be plausible. Pines, if you pine for something, you yearn for it. So pines, yearns. Didn't we have something like that? We had yen, which was, itch. Okay. Sort of similar words. John Harvard of Harvard University, and others. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. Was he I'm guessing was a founder or namesake of Harvard University, but I don't know. Graphic novelist who created Watchmen and V for Vendetta. Alan Moore. I've actually read those. And cover is a cap, a cover, a cap. Classic 1966 album with the tracks Wouldn't It Be Nice and Sloop John B. That is the extraordinary album Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Really one of the truly great albums of all time, I would say. Cover, although I hate that phrase, of all time. Cover is, maybe it is a cap. Princess in Disney's Enchanted. Something L, it looks likely. I've never seen this, I'm not sure. What about this? Milk source, a teat of a cow, for instance? Oh, clergyman. Oh, John Harvard of Harvard University, clergyman. Okay, that would make sense. So let's see. Cover, it is cap, yeah. And then, ugh, this is unbelievable. Come on, this is unbelievable, you might say. And then, what's rounded up in a roundup? A yard? A feature of an empty room, perhaps. A crew? Sort of off-white wall color, maybe? Column on the far right, maybe. Ones, the ones column. If you have numbers in a spreadsheet, for instance, the far right of the numbers could be the ones position of those numbers. So this is not a crew. Feature of an empty room. Oh, an echo. Yes, when you have less furniture, you don't have wall coverings or floor coverings, you'll have more echo. The sound will bounce more off the walls. Okay, what about this? Suffix with governess, and format for peer-to-peer file sharing. Not sure offhand. Ineffectual sorts. Probably ends with an S at least. Oh, this is paternity tests. I just see. What was the clue? Things that can really make someone pop. Oh, okay. So I got that just from the. It's funny. Sometimes it's easier to get things from when they're punny in this way. Sometimes it's easier to get them just by filling in the blanks without even paying attention to what the clue is, because the clue is intentionally misdirecting. So here, they can really make someone pop. That can make someone a father, effectively, would be a paternity test. There we go. Very clever. This does look like Eloise. So I must just be missing what we're looking for here. Enters in a way. Oh, logs as in enters data. There we go. Okay. And then heavily, so it's another kind of slightly misleading Friday clue. Heavily caffeinated, say, you're strung out on caffeine, I suppose. And then space scrap. Giselle? Nuka? Okay, I have something wrong. What do I think this is? What can I look at over here? No, it doesn't matter. There's nothing else over there. Oh, maybe it's, sorry. I don't know why. For some reason, ever since I first read this clue, heavily caffeinated, say, I read it as a person is heavily caffeinated. I don't know why. There's absolutely no reason I should have read it that way. That doesn't feel like misdirection. That just feels like my misreading. It means the drink itself is strong. I don't know what. So then this would be no-go space scrap. Why is that? At least no-go is it's a term, it's a phrase. Space scrap. No-go. Oh, I see. Scrap as in sort of cancel it out, scrap it. It's a space that's been scrapped. It's a no-go area. There might be a cleaner way to read that, but I think I basically get the gist of it. But there's probably a slightly better way to read it. Anyway, let's finish off the puzzle. So Ineffectual sorts are wet noodles. That's a phrase you could use to describe someone kind of ineffectual or bland, I suppose. Flashy hoops highlight for short. A basketball kind of instant replay kind of thing, maybe? Or maybe highlight just means a flashy move. I don't know. I don't know enough basketball to know. Handled probably ends in ED. Exclusive. Vet's counterparts. Probably ends with an S. Exclusive. And kind of acid found in good fats. Amino acid? I don't know. Same. Me too. Exclusive. Maybe this doesn't end with a D. Oh no, yeah, maybe the N is the. Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. It's seem to. There we go. Yeah, okay. That was a poor move on my part to put ED. There are obviously other ways to construct past tense in English, so shouldn't have done that. Exclusive. If there were an S here, would that help? Exclusive. A scoop. So in kind of news reporting, an exclusive could be a scoop. You could be the first one with a story. Oh, oop, as in alley-oop? Is that just referred to as oop for short? Okay, I've never seen that, but that probably is the answer. Oh, so torrent. That is a peer-to-peer file sharing thing. I used to hear a lot about that. You don't so much anymore. I wonder if it's still around. I guess it probably is. Format for peer-to-peer file sharing. I don't know. So it's something to do with a torrent. Vet's counterparts. Noobs, as in a veteran or a newcomer. So what is, BitTorrent, that was something. So is this, this isn't Me Too, it's Ditto. Oh, right. Oh, wow, okay. I'm surprised by that, but perfectly reasonable. So, oleic acid, or, oh, yeah, maybe it is. Peace Nobelist Wiesel is Elie Wiesel, and then Sorry Babe, oleic acid, that sounds much better. That sounds real. And then Sorry Babe is No Dear. Okay, there we go. So, oh no, I still have something wrong. Oh no, sorry. All right, I'll have to run through the puzzle. If this is long and boring, I will cut out the long and boring bit. Okay, I have found my mistake. So two errors here. One, I didn't take into account John Harvard of Harvard University and others. We're not just referring to John Harvard, a clergyman. We're referring to others as well, so clergymen. And then I never actually looked back at this clue after it was ostensibly solved with crosses, but actually wasn't. So what's rounded up in a roundup would be a herd of animals. You could round them up. You could herd them. So, good, okay. So hoping I didn't have yet another error. Fortunately, I didn't. But there we go. That was the Friday crossword. I finished it off with another mistake. So did not have didn't fully improve on yesterday, but no theme. So didn't have to worry about that element of it. In any case, that was the Friday puzzle. Nice, I would say very Friday style, not brutally difficult, but had lots of kind of fun, punny clues with bits of misdirection and wordplay. So our junior mint, our play money, that's very clever. What else do we have? We had our high point of a trip to California, El Capitan. Big Sister, I really like this one. Mother Superior, that's very good. Space Scrap, yeah, this is one where I would be curious to hear others' interpretations of this to see if there's a smoother way, a very straightforward way to read this, because I think I'm probably missing the cleanest way to interpret that pun. Anyway, there we go. A nice, solid Friday puzzle. Enjoyed that. Hope you did as well. And as I indicated earlier at the beginning of this video, I am going to review the comments from yesterday's puzzle, the majority of which, unsurprisingly, were about my persistent failure to fully comprehend the theme. I did eventually understand, thanks to the revealer, that there were 5 letters missing from each of the theme answers. What I did not realize is that those letters were printed in the grid, right to the left of each answer from the end of the previous answer. It is absolutely ridiculous that I didn't notice that. And so, as Elon Eton points out, you take 5 from assigner to turn amuses into ignoramuses. So we take the IGNOR from assigner to turn to create ignoramuses with amuses. Similarly, straps plus hooters equals trap shooters. That was the one I could never figure. The other ones I inferred, even though I didn't see their letters in the grid. It was fairly clear what the full answers were. Whereas trap shooters, yeah, it's a phrase that I now kind of recognize when I see it, but it isn't one that it's not in my active vocabulary, so not surprised I didn't get that. But it was part of straps, so had I simply understood the theme, I would have gotten it. Anyway, moving on, we had forever plus berates equals reverberates, and shindig plus nation equals indignation. So at least the other ones I got, I was able to successfully infer the proper answers, even though I didn't get them the right way. But anyway, thank you to Elon Eton and everybody else who commented on that, of whom there were many. And then Stephen Giblin, the only other comment I have that relevant is Stephen Giblin comments on the phrase "cut no ice." So I was thinking this must be a very new phrase or a very old phrase, and it was indeed a very old phrase. According to one online source, this phrase "cut no ice" is an Americanism dating from the late 19th century. It may come from skating, that is, the image of a poor skater who cannot cut figures in the ice, or it may come from an icebreaker that cannot break up ice flows as it should. Well, that's quite an archaic reference. So I wonder how many people actually recognize that off the bat from yesterday's puzzle. I certainly didn't, and it's no surprise as to why. In any case, those are the comments from yesterday's puzzle. That means that wraps up today's video. Hope you enjoy it. I'll be back tomorrow for another themeless puzzle, our second of 2 themeless crosswords for the week. So do come back and join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.